Sanjay, good to see you. Now, this is an interesting time. We talked about, just mentioned the shortages last year. And at the same time, there's legislation that could build capacity here in the U.S. Why is this moment important for chips?
It is extremely important because it highlights the importance of semiconductors, John, in all our economic growth, national security considerations. And if you look at, John, over the course of last 20 years, overseas governments have really invested and supported bringing semiconductor industry onshore in their countries. And U.S. government has not provided the support over the last 20 years. As a result, if you look at memory manufacturing, we only have 2% of global memory production here in the U.S. Of course, we need to reverse this trend. And this is where the efforts of President Biden, Secretary Raimondo, and bipartisan coalition on the Hill are extremely important in terms of securing long-term semiconductor memory leadership in innovation and manufacturing, and U.S. leadership in innovation and manufacturing. And here, Micron is very well positioned as the only U.S. company that manufactures semiconductor memory and storage. We announced, John, last year that we would be investing more than $150 billion over the course of the decade to address the growing need of memory and storage in the data economy today. So, John, we are well positioned to address this. We are very appreciative of the efforts and the recognition of semiconductors. We need to bring more manufacturing to the U.S. We need to drive U.S. semiconductor leadership in innovation.
What
this
about
is going
that?
to be important for jobs and for economic growth.
Sanjay, I believe TSMC and Samsung have talked about building more manufacturing capacity in the U.S. Certainly Intel lately, with just that $20 billion announcement in Ohio alone, it could turn out to be more, has talked about it as well. How do you at Micron look at the investment potentially in U.S. manufacturing, and are any of those other companies' future capacity interesting to you?
Memory manufacturing is hard stuff, and Micron, over the 43-year history, has really driven the tremendous innovation and manufacturing expertise. Memory is at the leading edge of semiconductor memory, and within that, Micron is leading. I would like to point out here, Micron has manufacturing here in Manassas, Virginia, and we actually, even pre-pandemic, invested in expanding that clean room there to meet the growing needs for memory demand in automotive and industrial segments. In fact, that clean room, that fab expansion, completed construction in 2021. We began ramping that into production late in 2021, and we'll continue to ramp that through 2022. So point is, John, that Micron has been investing over the course of last few years in continuing to increase its manufacturing capacity, of course, driving memory supply growth in line with the demand growth. We have made those investments here in Manassas, Virginia, as well as in our global footprint as well. So we have been proactive in driving prudent growth of our supply to meet the growing needs of our customers, from data center to the intelligent edge to smart user devices.
So with all that in mind, Sanjay, I wonder, do you think that the industry supply crunch, as we knew it in the depths of 2021, driven largely by COVID, is ending, is over, will be over soon? Where are you on that?
No question that there are certain pockets of shortages that are certainly continuing in the industry. And we said in our last December earnings call that we expect that these shortages will continue to ease throughout 2022 timeframe. And of course, industry has invested a lot. Micron has invested a lot in manufacturing capacity in terms of investing in technology transition capability to grow the supply, as I mentioned earlier. Carl, this year, our CapEx will be at record levels. Last year was a record level too, and this year we are growing it by nearly 20% compared to last year. All of this going into driving leading edge technology transition to meet the growing needs, again, across a wide range of markets, from data center to smartphones to, of course, PCs to consumer and industrial devices. What's happening is that the trends of AI, 5G, autonomous, they're all driving greater need for memory and storage. And this is why we think that for the rest of this decade, memory and storage will grow faster than the semiconductor industry on an average.